So let's talk menopause. First thing, if we're going to talk about menopause that we have to discuss is estrogen and progesterone. So let's discuss those first in a normally menstruating woman, and then we can discuss what happens at menopause. So menses is a really interesting time of fluctuating hormones. The first 2 weeks of the menstrual cycle, day one being bleeding, is dominated by estrogen. And I like to think of estrogen as and progesterone as two non-identical twin sisters. So estrogen is the athletic sister, she's the entrepreneurial sister, she's very driven, she has high self-esteem, she likes to get things done, she is rambunctious, she can do a lot and wants to do a lot. So it's a very powerful hormone. In fact, estrogen is a lot like male testosterone, but in my mind, far more refined and has way more activity than testosterone. Testosterone is sort of like a single personality, and estrogen can do a ton. So that's dominating the first half of the menstrual cycle. Now, after ovulation, progesterone comes on board, and she's the sister that's a little bit of a worrier. She wants to keep estrogen in check. She's a planner. She's thinking ahead. She's wondering if a baby's coming and wants to prepare the body. And so what happens is estrogen and progesterone together are stress-reducing hormones. So you want them, and they work together as sisters to reduce stress on your system. However, they differ in what they do to insulin. Estrogen makes you more insulin sensitive, which means you can tolerate more calories, more carbs, more food in general. And progesterone makes you more insulin resistant, which means she's preparing the body, wanting to store things, primarily in case a baby comes. Now, if that egg does not get fertilized, both estrogen and progesterone go to sleep in a sense. So both sisters go to rest. Now at menses, that's kind of like a mini menopause. Both estrogen and progesterone drop off. So if you understand that, now we begin to understand what happens at menopause. Menopause is really three different things. There's perimenopause, which can last many, many years. Menopause is really defined as not having menses for 1 year, but it's basically a brief period in time. And after that comes postmenopause. Now, during perimenopause, progesterone drops. Now, when estrogen is without her sister, it kind of drives estrogen crazy. You can imagine she gets in trouble. She sometimes is moody. Sometimes she's anxious. Sometimes she's depressed. This is why perimenopause can feel very volatile for a lot of women. The number one thing to do at perimenopause is you've just lost one of your stress-reducing sisters. So now you need to become more of the mother and start to mother yourself. This is the way I like to think about it for women. You want to do lots of stress-reducing activities, lots of long walks, less intense and less long duration exercise, more time in the hot baths, more spa time, more massage, more sex and physical affection, more time with loved ones, more time doing creative pursuits. You really want to take your time and really woo-side, really relax, really do everything you can to take stress off your system, because progesterone is no longer helping with that. So that's perimenopause. Stress reducing becomes your dominant factor. You probably are better off with an extra hour in bed than an extra hour on the treadmill when you hit perimenopause. Now at menopause, now estrogen drops as well. So now not only are you more stress reactive, but you're also going to be more insulin resistant. So now, in addition to all that stress-reducing activity, it's better to start looking very closely at how many calories you're taking in, and specifically calories from carbohydrates, since they're the primary thing that's driving insulin. So that's step two. Step one, do everything you can to reduce stress. That includes not overeating or undereating, and not over-exercising or under-exercising. Think the Goldilocks zone. That's step one. Step two, watch your calorie intake, specifically as it pertains to lots of starchy foods and lots of fat and starch and sugar combinations. Begin to reduce those foods. Move to more lean, clean protein sources, lots of vegetables, low sugar fruits. Now, the final third piece to this is that when you hit menopause and start going into postmenopause, estrogen and progesterone drop. Now, their brother, testosterone, also drops, but for many women, they become more testosterone dominant. So all three hormones drop, but testosterone may not drop as much. You become a little bit more testosterone dominant. Now, what can you do with that little bit of extra testosterone dominance? You can start leaning towards resistance training instead of other types of training. So moving more towards more resistance training. This is also great for your bones to help bone density. It also helps to build a tone, lean body and make you more muscular, and helps to burn fat even when you're not doing the exercise. What a lot of people don't realize is that when you're doing more cardio dominated stuff, that's fantastic stuff. Good for your heart, good for your mood and all of that. But when you stop it, the burn stops. Resistance training, you burn a little bit of calories when you're doing it, not as much as cardio, but then you burn more calories during the day to recover, more calories the next day to repair, and even more calories the following day to adapt and build muscle stronger. So those are the three things that you want to be thinking about with menopause. Number one, stress reducing activity. Stop overeating and undereating. Stop over exercising and under exercising. Really get that right, and then add all these relaxing activities. That's step one. Step two, control calories, specifically through carbohydrates. Reduce the junk food. Step three, start with resistance training. That 1, 2, 3 approach has been a game changer for my menopausal clients in my clinical career. And one final thing I want to say that maybe I didn't emphasize enough, which is critically important. When you think about the stress reducing part, that's step one, the number one thing to do at that point is lots and lots of leisurely or leisurely slow walking. It is the best form of activity. You really want to start thinking about moving and walking more than you want to be thinking about exercise. Walk, walk, walk. Shoot for 10K steps per day. It's critical. So hopefully that's helpful for all of you, and it's good to see you. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll talk to you next time.